Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Decathlon Van Rysel EDR CF 105 carbon fiber road cycling bike. When it comes to road bikes, carbon fiber disc bikes are one of the most desirable due to their lightweight and smooth rides. Decathlon's Van Rysel lineup of bikes targets that premium end of the road bike market with various carbon fiber options. In this review, we're going to be looking at the Van Rysel EDR CF 105, which features an endurance geometry and full Shimano 105 drivetrain. Now you'll note we're a little bit late to the party with our review, as the bike has only recently become available in the US. It was available worldwide in about 2021 as part of the Van Rysel disc lineup. Here in the US, it's priced at $3,500, although it is on sale right now at about $2,700. This is a full carbon fiber frame, which includes the fork as well. You have Fulcrum Racing 700 dB wheels, flat mounted hydraulic disc brakes, and then the EDR part of the bike indicates this is the endurance geometry. You also have full Shimano 105 drivetrain, which includes the mechanical 11-speed shifters. You have the crankset, cassette, chain, and even the rotors are all Shimano branded. So they didn't really skimp any money here, so it's really full Shimano. If you're not familiar with Decathlon, they're actually a very big brand in Europe, available in 60 plus countries and really rich history. They're well known for making very high-end products at affordable price points to make every sport more accessible. They have everything from kayaks, tents, to apparel, down to road bikes, so they've really done a great job leveraging their scale to develop high-end products at more affordable prices. The size large that we have here is 19 pounds without pedals. They also have a size small all the way to XL, so you should be able to find the size that you need. This is one of their first disc bikes, but Van Rysel is mixing up their lineup. At least at the time of this review, Decathlon pretty much has Van Rysel, which is their road bikes, Tribin, which is more gravel or all-road, and then they have the Rock Rider, which is full mountain bike. So between this, you can find anything you need, and they even have commuting bikes. As far as these Van Rysel bikes, currently there's 3 lineups. You have the CF Ultegra, which is actually not available in the US. That has the Ultegra drivetrain, but is the same bike that we have here otherwise. Then we have the $3,500 CF 105 that we have in this review with the Shimano 105 and carbon fiber frame. And then there is an aluminum AF 105 variation that's $1,700. We do expect Decathlon to mix up this lineup, so they do have quite a few bikes on the horizon. So they will be having more models in both the road bike and then the more gravel bike variations. Here you can see the side profile of the EDR bike. It really shows off the endurance geometry. You have a bottom bracket that's lower than other bikes, tall head tube, and a slack angle, and that gives you more upright position and stable handling. You can also set up more aggressively, as we've done here with a tall seat post. This bike is currently available only in black, so you have a glossy black finish and a matte finish on the inner triangle. The branding is limited Van Rysel on the top tube and down tube. You don't have any Decathlon branding. And then you have standard drop bars with the Shimano 105 shifters. So you have 2 levers, inner and outer, and then you pull back to modulate the hydraulic disc brakes. The stem size will vary depending on the size of the bike. You can see the bike takes full advantage of the carbon fiber construction. So you have tapering tubes with sharp creases that smooth out as you go front to rear. You also have that contrasting matte and inner finish, which looks really cool. The only leftover part here is the in-house B-twin saddle, very narrow, something we actually saw in the RC520, and something we highly recommend upgrading. You also have an offset seat stay, so it gives you more compliance, and then they can vary the shape depending on the size of the bike. Here you can see that side profile again. That matte finish has a nice contrasting finish that looks great, and you have the ghosted on Van Rysel logo on there, so you don't really see it in certain light. Full Shimano 105 here, so you have an 11-speed mechanical drivetrain, 11x28 cassette, and a 52x36 front crankset. So a really nice setup, and even the chain is Shimano, so they didn't really skimp out on the parts. You can see you have thru-axles here, so very modern setup with disc wheels. You have 140mm rotors on the rear, 160 on the front, and these are flat mounted Shimano 105 hydraulic brakes. So really nice clean setup, and you can see the seat stays and everything are nice and thin with a glossy finish. Here you see the bottom bracket, you just have the EDR Road CF on here, and this bike has the 700x25 wheels, which is pretty narrow, and you can see you have plenty of room for 28 or possibly 32 with this bike. Now let's take a look at some riding footage with the bike. You can see the gloss black finish looks good, it has a premium look, and with the disc brakes, you don't have any exposed aluminum, so you have a nice shadowy effect. The branding on this bike is very limited too, so most people won't actually recognize this unless they're familiar with Decathlon or the Van Rysel brand. As far as the riding experience, we're really impressed with it. You have the full carbon fiber frame and fork, as well as the seat post, so it really dampens out a lot of the harshness on the road. And even though you only have 700 by 25 tires on here, which are pretty narrow in today's standard, it's still very comfortable. So even over the potholes that we ride with, it's still quite comfortable, and you can do longer rides without being any having discomfort or pressure points. The main downside of this bike is you have some generic tires. There's some CST 700 by 25 and a very narrow saddle that's actually still branded B-Twin, which is something they're phasing out. So we highly recommend swapping the saddle. The tires themselves are actually performed pretty well. They're not a Conti, but we didn't have any punctures or issues with them. They had nice and responsive, great grip, so even during fast descents or climbs, they felt comfortable. The bike feels pretty responsive and aggressive. With the endurance geometry, you have a little bit more slackness, so when you're turning, it's not twitchy, and that means you have a lot of confidence descending. The Shimano 105 setup on here is really nice as well. You don't really need Ultegra endurance these days. The R7000 series has smooth shifting, so it's really quiet. It almost feels like an electronic shifter because you just tap it. It's very low resistance. You also have a wide range of gears with the 2x on the front and 11 by 28 on the rear, so you can do a lot of slow climbing with the graining gears and then shift up to higher gears if you want to do a fast group ride. So overall, really nicely designed bike, and because it's all developed in-house, they've really dialed in the ride and comfort. You can see here we have it set up more aggressively, so it is more similar to our tarmac, but not quite as twitchy, and that gives you that more stability that you want for an endurance bike. So overall, really nice. We wish the pricing was a little bit more competitive here. As it's a Van Rysel bike, we'd want to see more of a discount compared to the big box stores, but overall, a nice bike to ride and very comfortable. Now let's go over the scorecard for the Van Rysel EDR CF 105. We're going to grade on 4 different categories: design, components, handling, and value. For design, we'd give it an A-. You have nice sharp creases with the offset seat stay, and then the aerodynamically tuned and carbon fiber frame. You also have that glossy and matte finish, so the matte finish along the inner triangle really sets it off. It's an A- because we love to see more color options. A lot of the Van Rysel apparel bikes have gone all black. Component-wise, given an A, you have the smooth Shimano 105 R7000 drivetrain. So quick shifting, you don't really need higher end products here. And Decathlon has actually gone all out here, so the chain, the cassette, the crank, and even the rotors are all Shimano 105, so it's not a mix and match to bring down the price. The only downside with the components is you get a basic B-Twin saddle, which is very narrow. It's something we had on our Tribin bike. We highly recommend upgrading that because it probably won't work with most people. And you also have basic CST 700 by 25 tires. They do perform well though, so we do recommend just keeping them, and then once they wear out, you can decide if you want to replace it or upgrade. Handling, we give it an A. You have an endurance geometry, but it still feels aggressive and responsive. And at only 19 pounds, you can easily take this up hills, and you'll still have a lot of comfort coming down because you have the hydraulic disc brakes. Value-wise, we'd give it a B+. At $3,500, this 105 bike is actually priced the same as the Cannondales or Specialized, so it's very high in the US. In the UK and Europe, it seems like this is a $2,500 bike, which makes a lot more sense. And then the $3,000 Ultegra version is a steal because you don't really get Ultegra bikes at lower price points. So at least in the US, the pricing does seem off, and the bike is currently on closeout, so it is priced at $2,700, which is more affordable than the counterparts from bigger brands. But we do think Van Rysel should price their bikes a little bit lower, especially in the US, as you don't have the brick and mortar stores and less serviceability. But overall, really nice bike. It's a fun bike to ride, and especially when it's on sale, I highly recommend picking this up as an alternative to bigger brands. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist, reminding you to enjoy the ride.